What's going on?
Yo, welcome to Thursday. Another update for UTG. If you do like what if you're picking up what we're putting down, hit that subscribe button and get daily updates from ads and Tuesday and Thursday night updates from both ads and I on all things crypto and forex and the markets and all that sort of good stuff. Interesting little wobble for BTC over the last couple of days after that local high that we got there at that top supply zone at around that 11.7 mark, or just below that 11.8 mark. Now she sort of seems to be consolidating a little bit. And as we said on Tuesday, when BTC has these runs up and it tends to consolidate or becomes range bound, which I think we're seeing right now, we tend to start seeing alts having little pops. And as I said on Tuesday night, the low caps are having little pops now. We saw Matic have a little go. Theta has had a little go. On the right-hand side, they're not a great deal from that particular list, but your lower cap coins now with the lower liquidity are starting to move, which I think if BTC continues to consolidate, we will see more amongst the lower caps. We will see it go to the mid caps, and then perhaps the high caps will have a little bit of a go as well. But yeah, seemingly we're a little bit range bound now. We can see with these major fib levels that ads has drawn in there, we're just ranging in this golden pocket zone between the 50 and the 61. We can see it here previously where this was a pretty significant zone prior to the moves up and then prior to the moves back down again. So seemingly this is a pretty important level to be looking at ads.
Absolutely, it is. Look, to be honest, bro, I've been really excited to film tonight because we haven't even had an immediate reaction off this level of supply. So
Yeah.
yes, we have been slapped down quite significantly. Excuse me. We haven't had any follow up in either direction. Really, we've just been walking down under this level, this 61 fib level now, and equally so bringing our indicators and especially steamroller back down to the
Yeah.
mean. So it's going to be interesting if we draw in this horizontal ray on our fibs like we had yesterday, I believe. There we go. You can see that we are just using the 50 RSI as our level of support, and we're retesting that area now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, over the next probably course of this evening into tomorrow and into the weekend, where this really, where this price goes. And I think we're going to see that decision being made, come into this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Thursday often brings a little bit of volatility, which we haven't quite yet seen. So between now and the weekend is going to be quite an interesting time. What is good though is that the fact that we did touch this supply zone but didn't breach through it means that if we have another go at it, there's now still some room to continue to push through it if we do get to that point. But what we can see though, we know that we didn't pierce too far into this supply zone. So meaning that there is still some strength there for a further rejection, which we might end up seeing at this fib level if we do continue back upwards. But where we are now, looking at this, and I just spotted this a little bit. We don't put a ton of weight on this sort of stuff, but it's interesting nonetheless to sort of see this little diamond pattern playing out now. So what we're really waiting for is really just a break either side of this, and seemingly what we've got here is pretty decent support here at this demand zone and a pretty decent resistance here at this fib level. So this golden pocket is really the play now. I guess for the short term guys, I suppose you would you kind of this is kind of the little mini range right now for you sort of scalpers. I suspect that we will find a pretty good support level once we get to this demand zone down here. It's acted quite well as levels of support in the past where we had this sort of resistance resistance flip. So it's an interesting little time for BTC right now. Although we are sort of seeing declining volume, that hasn't really meant a great deal in the scheme of things when we're seeing volume like this, but we're still seeing moves to the upside like this. So an interesting little time. Oh, and just going back very quickly, when we look at diamond patterns, for those who don't know what they are, we're looking for the distance between the bottom of the diamond and the top of the diamond, which would be this area just here, which we're looking for a move of either side, as has highlighted there. So looking at the diamond formation there, that's a pretty decent run back down to demand or a move back up to support, which would support that diamond formation as you've got drawn up there, bro. So yeah, interesting little time for BTC. The ideal scenario, again, as we sort of say, for alts would be to continue sort of either being range bound between here or this immediate level that I've just drawn out, where some of these alts can start to pop and we can start having some real fun.
Absolutely. Look, if you had to ask me which direction we're probably going to go, I'd probably say down, honestly, bro. Honestly, because we have had that very harsh rejection off that level of supply. It is a daily level. That's why it looks a bit funny and odd on the 4-hour time frame. But that rejection is quite significant to me, honestly. We do have a very harsh slap down as soon as we got to even the dollar point of that 11,730 point there. So
yeah,
if I had to guess, if I had to just make an outlandish guess on which direction we're going to head, I think we will probably see this level at 11.1 be tested again over the course of this evening into the weekend. I do think that's probably the direction this will go. Supported by steamroller, obviously giving us that oversold to complete that market cycle to come down and come down to that oversold position. More than likely, it will either come down to this 50 Fibonacci level or even that 38 just underneath at 10.9. So it's going to be an interesting one. Look, it's neither here nor there. the only problem we see with, this formation and this price action is that it's hard to say, yes, we're going to confidently come up and break this level of supply, or we're going to confidently come up and test this demand without, some decent market structure to go off. We've made a higher high, but we have been ranging towards the downside now. And if we do come down to this level of demand, that could give the indicators to really time to cool off and recharge before a movement to the upside. And as Ty did mention, we could have, that sort of formation happening there, which is really ultimately higher high, lower high, higher high, lower high, higher high. So it's going to be an interesting one over the next little bit. I don't think we'll get an overall market direction in the way of macro scale of things for a little bit. I think we'll still see, this test of this demand before a potential movement to the upside back to retest that level of supply, that daily level at 10,740 or 11,750.
Yeah, I would probably wait towards maybe Monday next week, maybe mid Monday night, to sort of give us the direction of trend for the following week. But Steamroller doing a really great job there, calling that sort of local top, if you will, with this movement here, which you can find over at unitytradinggroup.com under the indicators tab there. That's the one. Yeah, with the trade journal as well. Next week we are going to go through trade plans and trade journals using this trade journal here. It comes a part of part of our one-on-one, which is going crazy at the moment. A lot of guys are wanting one-on-one mentoring, which is fantastic. We're really excited to share some of that. But yeah, trade journals, so important. And we're going to highlight that for you next week, exactly why they are so important. All right, with that said, let's get into F and see what is happening with the baby brother.
FUSD a little bit more convincing in the way of its market structure throughout the level of supply there that we've drawn in on the daily. We've broken through most of this level now, and then we've created another key higher high, taking in the market structure to the left-hand side, as you can see with that wick there. However, it's still trending towards that level of demand that we have drawn in, which is 367. And then we've got a key Fibonacci level at the 38.2, which is 372. We did speak about 372 over the last couple of updates that I've done. And on our Tuesday night live session, how we, drew in that liquidity to the left-hand side, that really lined up very nicely with the 38.2. That's where I think it's headed. I think it's headed towards that 38.2 and that 50 level of demand to really, give us that pullback, give Steamroller an opportunity to head down or even, come towards that bottom area before we see any form of retest towards our level of supply again.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's pretty much in line with what I'm looking at. 370 is going to be a key region for me, as you sort of said as well, which has acted as that previous resistance level before here, which we can see pretty significantly there as levels of resistance here in the past, and then conversely as levels of support in the past as well. So really, that's going to be a key area, as I just sort of highlighted before. Steamroller really called that little local top there as well, and even looking at our RSI 2 ads, we're coming down towards that 50. That's a horrendous 50 mark. But yeah, coming down towards that sort of 50 mark, where very similar to BTC, where it's a good way to use your oscillators as a level of support and resistance when maybe key levels aren't defined clearly based on your TA. Here we've got Fibonacci and demand zones. Demand zones you can find over at unitytradinggroup.com/supply and demand, but they act as really nice little levels of potential support or resistance using oscillators for those who do use the RSI. So yeah, ads, we're pretty well aligned on that one. And similar to BTC, we're going to expect to see similar formations anyway, but we're seeing again, similar to BTC, this diamond pattern playing out here, which I think if we were to look at the distance between them would probably line up quite well with our sort of similar to what we have there. So the 38 is going to be significant. If we break below that, then obviously that 50 and that golden pocket zone and that lower demand are going to be key levels to be looking out for if that 38 can't hold.
I absolutely agree. And, preceding the 38, we've got the 50-61. We know that these fib levels, in the way of drawing it, how we've drawn it from swing low to swing high, we know that these are going to be used for a significant pullback before a further move to the upside, if there is going to be one. So that 38, 50, 61, those three golden areas, those three golden levels are going to be very much in play, I think, over the next few days, and the 38 probably more so.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I do want to have a look at FBTC to see what is kind of happening a little bit with our olds. Projected beautifully off that mark that we spoke about earlier in the week. Seemingly still kind of, again, sort of semi-range bound, really struggling at that previous high there, that 33,000 sat mark to sort of break through that. I guess for the moment, the 50, again, the 61 and the 50 are going to be significant levels for levels of potential support here. Again, coming very close to that 50 RSI sort of level, and our CCI still clearly has a little bit of room to move to the downside as Steamroller does. It would be nice to sort of see some sort of support here, but I think it's getting a little bit weaker at this stage, ads, and this would be, I know it's an unusual way, but this probably seems like a little bit more of a relevant zone for a bounce, in my opinion, than perhaps the 61 at the minute.
The only issue that I find with that trend line that you just had drawn in, it's a bit sharp. It's a bit the trajectory is a bit high, so it's a bit steep. So it might need a little bit more of a cool off. I've been seeing. Yeah. I want to get your opinion on this one, bro. I've been seeing this thrown around a little bit over the last. On some of the socials, and it's an interesting formation. I know what I think, but would you consider that as a valid formation?
I probably wouldn't have, I would pay attention to it, but I probably wouldn't put a great deal of weight on it, to be honest, because I'd rather see that at the bottom of a trend.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer. Exactly. If we saw that sort of formation down here,
yeah,
after this move, coming up like that, then yeah, that would be a formation to pay attention to. Something like this, obviously we can see it on the chart. There is a formation pattern that does exist in this nature. Just don't put a whole lot of weight on it. Don't just take it as a grain of salt. And if it plays out, it plays out. But more than likely, it won't. Yeah,
very simple rule for head and shoulders is that you look for a standard head and shoulders at the top of a movement or at the top of a bullish trend for looking for a reversal, and then vice versa for an inverse head and shoulders. So it's always important, like what we said a few weeks ago when I do my horrendous Elliott wave charts or whatever it is that you see up that I throw into Discord. I draw it up knowing full well that it's probably not the most accurate sort of thing. But when you see trends on a chart or you see certain formations, pay attention to it, document it, put it in your trade journal. If it plays out, then you know that similarly next time you see it, whether be in the middle of a range or the top or bottom of a range, to pay attention and to see if history repeats. It doesn't often repeat, but it does rhyme. So it certainly might pull some weights in it. If a lot of people are seeing the same thing, then we know psychologically that a lot of people could be trading in the same way based off that, getting around the socials or Twitter or whatever it is. So yeah, certainly pay attention to it, but don't put all of your eggs in that head and shoulders basket, in my opinion.
I think that's really good advice, man, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think I can put it better than that.
Well, that's very kind of you, bro. At least something I say on this stream could be educational. The rest of it we know is just I'm just talking shit. All right, let's get in. BNB is one that I wanted to have a look at in terms of the major olds. BNB and ADA are two that I'm having a little bit of a schism at the moment. As we said last time, when it comes to Steamroller, definitely pay attention to Steamroller on BNB. It is one of the more accurate sort of charts that it calls when it comes to the higher cap altcoins, if you will. BNB at a pretty important point here, adds in terms of where we've been rejected previously.
Absolutely, and I don't know what charts you've been looking at, but Steamroller works on pretty much every chart.
It works very well on many charts, but the proof is in the pudding there when it comes to BNB, and Steamroller is ludicrous how well it works on that.
So I've drawn in this level of supply that I think is relevant, and it is relevant. But the reason why I've drawn it there is because we've got a significant pivot point there. It's very, very obvious to see that pivot point. And the very nice thing about this level of supply now, that is nearly non-existent pretty much, is that we have some movements throughout that level, and we haven't been rejected quite harshly on this level, in the way of we haven't come all the way back down to this 6-1, or we haven't come all the way back down to this 7-8. After testing this top again, we've actually made a higher high and then not created anything that looks like a detrimental price movement to the downside. We have started to eat through this level and move to the right hand side of this level of supply here. So it is getting quite significant in the way of it's no longer there. Pretty much, you could really say that. So, conforming to the rules of supply and demand, we've made a higher high in the way of market structure here. We're clearing out these levels now. Honestly, if we come and test this level up here at 28825 or 28,800 sats, that wouldn't be anything surprising to me for BNB looking at this structure as it sits.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then even if we do bang on our EMA fan, we can see we've got quite a decent amount of EMA support there. So the trend would sort of support the fact that that 50 could certainly be in play if we go to the downside. But what we're looking at here is, if we probably more so put on Unicon. Sorry, is the one that is that one I am looking at? Yeah, there we are. So we've got some pretty nice little MA support here, and we are seemingly in this triangle formation. But yeah, definitely want to be looking at what this 23 fib brings. The 38, if anything broke below the 38, I probably would cut this. But looking at where we are now on the 4 hour rather, still room to move for our oscillators to the upside. Steamroller sort of just floating above that parallel channel and still below that resistance level. So this is a pretty important supply. If we can break through that, then yeah, I definitely think that upper supply could be in play, and one of the alts that I'm looking at pretty actively at the moment.
I'm not discounting any downside movement for this before that happens, however, because we have had this run up from 24,000 sats up to around 27 without a substantial pullback. We've just been ping-ponging around this level. So if we break to the downside, come down to this 50, and then start to move up, that would be healthy for BNB. It would be healthy. Even if we come down to 38.2 from this level, retest that 38.2 and then continue to the upside, that would give Steamroller a little bit more room to move to the upside, and of course RSI and CCI. You can also draw that 50 median area in for RSI to give you a little bit more confirmation in the way of how far these can fall down or how far these can pull back before you can expect some pushback to the upside. So
perfect. All right. Let's have a look at our reg market stuff now. The DXY, of course, looking at anything forex regulated or regulated market stuff, it is just educational. It's purely just what we're seeing. If you want more information, talk to your licensed financial advisor.
Absolutely. The DXY we chart quite often, and it has been quite predictable, honestly, from the updates that we've been really doing. So this level here, we've spoken about multiple times that we were quite oversold on Steamroller, and we were looking for a potential bounce back up to this 61.8, and we got that. And yesterday we spoke about further increasing that movement to the upside towards that 50 mark. Obviously, we've got that white line carrying over from the left-hand side liquidity area there that you can see just to the left. If you can see these three rejections up the top here. And that's what's happened over the course of the evening. We've come down, retested more than likely a Fibonacci zone that's been relevant from this movement. Yep. So if you can see that, we've got swing low to swing high, come back down here, retest to 61.8, 93.25, pretty much to the dollar there twice before a further movement to the upside. So very, very predictable market structure and very predictable upside movement for the DXY, honestly. Regulated markets tend to work fantastic that way. Right now, however, we are sitting at 93.75, that area of liquidity. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to see what happens over the course of the volume that comes in over the course of tonight into tomorrow, and of course the last trading night, which is Friday night. Are we going to see more upside? It's definitely looking that way in the way of market structure. So we've had our lower low, we've had our higher high, lower high, and then we are continuing to the upside now, making a higher high. What I'm looking for now is a confident break of this 93.75 fib level, and possibly moving back up to this 93.86, this 27 extension, which lines up quite well with a lot of liquidity that's sitting just to the left. If you want me to draw that in for you, just to get a better idea. So if we look at some of this liquidity to the left, and of course this rejection, that would also double as a potential short-term level of supply that we've got here, because it is on a pivot point. That's that pivot before the move down. So that's more than likely where this is going to end up, Ty. So I think we will see this 27 extension over the next trading cycle, even into Friday night. This could be an area to look for, and it's not far away. Honestly, it's as soon as we get some volume over the course of this evening, we could push straight up to this 93.8 level of supply, and we've done this movement, pretty much this movement here, during the low trading volume period. So if this is anything to go by, if they don't short the crap out of it as soon as they open tonight, we will see that 93.8 level.
So if that were the case, do you expect that we would see some downside moves on some of the major pairs there if the DXY continues to the upside, ads, or what do you think?
Absolutely. So if you have a pair like Euro USD, for example, you are going to see that immediate reaction on those pairs.
Yeah.
So anything that has the base pair or USD as the base pair, you will see the reaction opposite towards the downside, and this varies, from pair to pair, and it really comes down to how much percentage weight that pair has on the DXY movements. Obviously, Euro has the highest percentage in the way of what the DXY is made up from and where it's derived. So you're going to see that movement to the downside. And if you've been watching the DXY updates that I've been doing literally every day, and they've been playing out nicely, you can literally take, okay, if the DXY is going to be going up, we're expecting movements to the upside. So you can come to the Euro chart with that bearish bias and look for targets to the downside and expect that to move in the opposite direction. So it's sort of a catch-22 where you have to, not a catch-22, but it's sort of like BTC, the crypto market, where you're always charting BTC to really gauge where ETH, where the alts are going to be, the dominance chart, everything like that. So it works the same way, but a little bit more like clockwork, and a little bit less like throwing a dart at a dartboard. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let's have a look just very quickly at gold and see what's going on with that.
So the last one I want to look at tonight is gold and the indexes. So I want to really, really pay attention to the stock indexes as we've been moving through those levels. But gold similarly has been doing what Euro USD has been doing, although that derived pair, the DXY, isn't as heavily weighted on gold as it is Euro, but it works similarly in any case. We are seeing downwards movements on gold, and we are moving towards that 78.6. Tonight, when we get some more volume into the market, we could more than likely expect gold to descend back down to this 78.6 at 1885. The 1885 level just down here, before we see any sort of decision on what's going to happen. If we get held at this 78.6, more than likely, if we come back to the DXY, more than likely we'll find the DXY up at this 27 extension or this level of supply. So an interesting one for gold. It's been playing out just as predictable as the DXY, honestly. Steamroller has been absolutely incredible on this in the way of calling where this is going to go and where this has gone. So if you're not using it, it's not a lot of month, honestly. Yeah.
Get amongst it. And really looking forward to bringing trade plans to everyone on Tuesday night. So if you have any questions about trade plans, either leave them in YouTube here when you subscribe to the channel, and we can respond to that, or come into the Discord and leave your comments in there and tag Ads and I, and we will start putting together some things for trade plans next Tuesday for this month's masterclass. So definitely one you do not want to miss. If you're struggling with identifying entries, exits, setups, bad habits, psychological traits where you might be shooting yourself in the foot and losing profits, then trade plans is really one that you want to be looking for next week. week, and we look forward to seeing you there. And as always, unitytradinggroup.com, Discord, please hit that subscribe button and show your support. And we do this because we love it, not because we have to. So any bit of support that we get and feedback is always appreciated.
We will definitely confirm the day that we're going to do this trade plans. We might do it on Tuesday, but we might also do it on Thursday. We don't know as of yet, so we will confirm that start of next week. For the last one that we'll look at tonight is the All Ordinaries. So it's been on a tear, honestly, since 59.66, where we saw, this double bottom scenario here before moving up to our level of supply. And finally, we did get to that level of supply after I've had it drawn in for so long. And we've had front run twice now off that. We are sitting at this level, but seemingly having a little bit more trouble than it usually does at this level. And honestly, I don't know if it's even going to continue through this and make it towards our negative 27 extension and make that higher high in comparison, or even make some structure above it in comparison to our pause in the market to the left here. So I'm very cautious at the moment in the All Lords. So we are sitting underneath this 64.20.4 level. It has been under this level for the last 3 days. But I'm keen to look more into this tomorrow night when we do this last market update for the week, because we're going to get a little bit more information on this. But in my opinion, I don't think we'll see it continue up and over this level of supply. I might be wrong, but we need a little bit more info to really determine that. But thank you all for joining us. Obviously, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. www.unitytradinggroup.com if you haven't been there already. Join the Discord. Join our Facebook group, Trade Hacker by Unity Trading Group, growing very, very nicely at 81 members now. So even if you're part of that Facebook group, invite whoever you think will benefit. The more the merrier. But if that's all, I think we'll wrap it up there, Ty.
That's it. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Catch you then.
Bye.